continue our class discussion. So this will be the last topic, the sampling methods. Okay, let's start. Now, let's have first the reasons for sampling. Bakit nag-exist itong sampling? Now, let's have this one. Sampling can save money. Save time. For given resources, sampling can be broaden the scope of the data set, and of course, because the research process is sometimes destructive, the sample can save the product of it, and accessing the population is impossible. So sampling is the only option. Okay? Example, when you had your research during senior high school, di ba kanang, for example, I think man siguro kaning mga I don't know if nakakandak ba ning mga senior high gikan sa SPC, no? I don't know if nakakandak ba sila, but di ba, so those students na nakakandak og research, di ba, per section naamoy mga number of students, di ba nga ano kanang nagrepresent sa klase nga sila mo answer sa survey. If you can still remember that one, di ba, dili tanan estudyante sa SPC inyo ang gikandak og survey. Tama, di ba? Dili tanan. Kay kung tanan pa, oh my God, it takes time. Then gasto pud kaayo, di ba? Naghahatag mo og mga kanang gamay nga ano, gift kung magkandak like ballpen. Oo. So kaya nga na-exist itong sampling. Common reason talaga itong dalawa, can save money and can save time. Okay? I am going to share my example, no, during my master's thesis. Okay? Let me share to you this. My respondents are senior high school students. Wala akong nagkandak sa SPC, nagkandak ko sa Digos. Okay. Akong sa Korea, so college Digos, mo sila akong respondents na senior high that time. Dili tanang senior nga respondents ako ang ako ang respondent sa study. Kaya kung sila patanan, 1,000 ka pen. So, my God, ang gasto ng time. So, of course, ang ako lang gipili dito is that nalanji sample, nalanji representative nga ako ang ginapili para sa pagkandak sa akong study. So, yung importante ang sampling. How much more ito? Kabalo mo ng data kanang ginabalita sa TV nga kanang ang kanagong sa tawagan na kanang common gani SWSS rate report bana sa atong president or sa bana kanang polling sa mga pila ka present ang kanang gusto si mudagan kana siya nga data, masyak na lang mo di ba kung at tinuod jud ni nagmakaana gid mga anuman. Take note, dili tibuok Pilipinas ang gikandakan og survey ana. It is just a matter of nalan sila gipili, nalan sila specific na place kung asa sila nagkandak og survey ana. Kaya mao man nga tawag na sampling. Okay? Kanang election is considered as matawag ang election og sampling kay dili man tanang tao sa Pilipinas na makaboto. Ang makaboto lang man is those people na above 18. Okay, let's continue. Now, let's have random at saka non-random sampling. There are two types of sampling, the random at saka non-random. Ang random sampling, every unit of the population has the same probability of being included in the sample. Then, a chance mechanism is used in the selection process, eliminate bias in the selection process, and also known as probability sampling. Kaning random sampling class, for example lang, ang akong respondents kay mga RadTech students, okay? Mga RadTech second year students karon. Unya, nalang ko gusto mga 20 book interviewon, mga 20. So kamo class, kamo tanan nga RadTech, okay? Kay ang random sampling walay bias. Dili siya bias ang random sampling. So kamo tanan will be given the chance to be chosen. Again, you will be given a chance to be chosen. Unlike sa non-random class, ang non-random manggod, pwede ra ka ng gusto ka interviewon sabi ana. O gusto ta ka ikaw ang respondent sa kong study. Ngan ang non-random, na medyo pagka-bias ang non-random. Kaya nga, if you're going to compare them, so in non-random sampling, every unit of the population does not have the same probability of being included in the sample. Open the selection of bias. Yes, medyo bias ang non-random sampling. From the word itself, non-random, dili random ang pagpili. Automatic, depende sa kung unsay gusto. Not appropriate data collection methods for most statistical methods, and is also known as non-probability sampling. Okay? Again ha, let me share to you this another example. Sa quali ninyo class, di ba sa inyong quali? Sa inyong quali nga research sa una, di ba namili mo, di ba? Diretso mo namili kung kisa yung respondents, di ba? Oo. So, dili tanang estudyante sa SPC inyuhang kanang dili the same of probability, or again, di ulay kanang dili sila tanan matagaan og chance na mapili. Kay ang non-random ay gusto ta kay mong respondents sa study dahil so lang ana ay ikaw ana. Ang random manggod tanan mapili. Mo ginakatong sa una sa inyong quantity sa una, every section will be given the chance na every section was given the chance to be selected. Okay? Kato inyong gikandak sa inyo sa una, nakarandom lang po do siya nga pagpili. Okay, nakarandom lang po do siya nga pagpili. Unlike sa non-random, wala siya nakarandom pagpili, automatic siya nga ay kani si Sir Kelly kay ang respondents. Okay? Now, there are also types of random sampling. Okay? Natin mga klase of random sampling. But before that, before anything else, let's have the definition of population. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng definition of population? A population can be defined as including all people or items with the characteristic one wishes to understand, or a group where members have something in common that is the total set of observations that can be made. It is the totality of items, things, or people under consideration. Example, the population senior citizen in Metro Manila. The population students in the senior high school program. Yan. Or, let me share this one. Another example. Students na nagkuha ng course ng BS Radtech. Okay? Population of students or students who took up BS Radtech in SPC. That is population. So, kamutanan. Over. Ang sample is a subset of population. Again, a sample is a subset of population. What does it mean by subset? Ang sample, gipili gikan sa population. Kung mao ni ang population, mamili lang ka dito. Katong gipili, that is the sample. Example, katong example na ko ganina. All BS Radtech students and all BS Radtech students of SPC. That's the population. How about this one? The third year BS Radtech the third year BS Radtech students from SPC. Itong third year, that is considered as the sample. Out of the whole BS Radtech population, ang akong gipili is BS Radtech na third year. That BS Radtech is the sample. Okay? And of course, BS Radtech is still part of the whole population of Radtech students sa SPC. Kaya nga tinatawag natin na sample is a subset of population. Example kanina ito. A sample of 500 senior citizens from Metro Manila, a sample of 1,000 grade 11 students from Metro Manila. Yan. Okay? And to further understand about sample and population, let's have also this parameter. When we say parameter is any measurable characteristic of a population. Take nota, ang parameter, population. Yan. Okay? Parameter is any measurable characteristic of a population, or it describes an entire population. Meanwhile, a statistic without a statistic na wala S. A statistic is any measurable characteristic of sample, or should I say it describe the sample. So please take note of these mnemonics. Ang parameter population, ang statistic sample, PPSS. PPSS, parameter population, statistic sample, PPSS. Okay? So again ha, parameter, it describes the population. Statistic, it describes the sample. Okay? And to further understand that one, let's have this example. Ito yung example natin. Wait lang. Yan. So, suppose the quality manager wants to know the average life of the battery they manufacture. He asks his employees to obtain 100 random sample of batteries and test how long the batteries will last. From the sample, it was found out that the average life of the battery is 1,100 hours. Now the question, identify the parameter and statistic. Okay? Identify the parameter and statistic. So let's go back to the problem. Please take note of this one kay inani siya sa quiz next meeting. Okay. Now, suppose the quality manager wants to know the average life of the battery they manufacture. Of course, the population is the battery they manufacture. The whole the battery they manufacture, kung ilan yung battery na gina-manufacture nila. The whole battery na gina-manufacture. That's the population. Now, the average now is the average life of the battery they manufacture. Take note that a parameter, it describes the population. Dito sa case natin, ang describe dito namin the average life of the battery they manufacture. Yan. Now, he asked his employees to obtain 100 random samples. So, given na nga, the sample is 100. Okay? Out of the 100 sample batteries, the average sample batteries is 1,000 hours. Take note of the clue dito ha. From the sample, the average life of the battery is 1,100 hours. So this 1,100 hours, it describes the 100 batteries. Again, itong 1,100 hours, it describes the sample natin, the 100 batteries. So again, kay actually medyo quite confusing siya. Quite confusing dyan siya nga kay pangitaon pa ninyo ang population, then parameter, then sample, then statistic. Okay, again, suppose the quality manager wants to know the average life of the battery they manufacture. So the company, the manufacturer company, they manufacture a battery. So that means the population is battery manufacture, the whole battery. The number of battery they manufacture, that's the population. Now, the employees obtain 100 random samples. So given na, the sample is 100 batteries. So dito, the parameter is the average life of the battery they manufacture, and the statistic dito is the 1,100. Okay, this 1,100, this is the average life of the battery of the 100 batteries. Again, itong 1,100 hours is the average life of the 100 batteries. That is why 1,100 hours ang sagot dito. Or should I say, pwede ito class itong gi-underline, ito siya. Average life of the battery is 100 hours. Ito siya, pwede siya ma-consider ito na statistic. Kung isulat mo talaga siya, kung isulat mo siya ng buo, okay, pwede siya accepted yan siya. Now, to further understand this kind of example, let's have another example. Okay? Because naman wait lang ha. Yeah. Balik naman ni the statistic describe the sample, therefore 1,000 hours is okay. Okay na ni. Okay, this one. Mrs. Cruz wants to know the average allowance of the grade 10 students. So, dito pa lang class, nalaman mo na ang population is grade 10 students. Di ba? Again, the population dito is grade 10 students. Nalaman nyo na. The whole grade 10 students. Now, the parameter is that ito. The parameter that describes the grade 10 students is the average weekly allowance. Yan. The average weekly allowance of grade 10 students. Yan yung sagot. Okay? The population is grade 10 students. Then the parameter is the average weekly allowance of grade 10 students. Now, what is the sample? Naka-indicate dito sa problem, she randomly asked 50 students. Okay? She randomly asked 50 students. This 50 students is the sample. Okay? This 50 students is the sample. Now, since he randomly asked 50 students how much the weekly and she found out that the weekly allowance of these 50 students, again, the average weekly allowance of these 50 students is 375. So this 375 now is your statistic, because this 375 is the average allowance of what? Average allowance of 50 students. Now, what is this 50 students? What is this 50 students? This 50 students is your sample, and your and statistic is the it describes the sample. Okay, statistic. So that means this 375 is the statistic. Okay? Dito, in the study, 50 students were chosen as sample, and it was found out that their weekly average allowance is 375. The statistic described the sample, and that means 375 is the statistic. Now, the population is the grade 10 students. That means the parameter is the average weekly allowance of grade 10 students. So, ganyan ang pagkuha ng parameter, statistics, population, and sample. Okay. How about this one, class? How about this one? Sige. I want you to chat the sample, the population, the parameter, and statistic. Again, i-chat ninyo ang sample, ang parameter, ang statistic, o ang population. Sige, kayo daw magsagot nito. Try lang. Sorry, wala dyan ko yung mouse, no? Nabili na akong mouse. Sige, i-chat ninyo kung unsa ang population, sample, o i-identify lang. Sige, take your time to analyze. Practice test ito, individual practice. So, try and try. Okay, let me check your answers. So very good, very good. Okay, sige. Now, what is let me read first the situation. To get the average water consumption of the residents of a certain subdivision, the property manager selected 25 residents and found out that their average water consumption is 20 cubic meters. Now, what is your... Okay. Wait lang ha. So, pangit dito kong anay class. Sorry dito tayo ha. Isulat na lang ako dito. Mag-annotate na lang ko. Okay. So, our population here, our population is what? What? The residents of a certain subdivision. Okay? That's the population. Residents of a certain subdivision. Our parameter, of course, parameter, it describes our population. Our parameter is the average water consumption of the residents of a certain subdivision. That's our parameter. How about our sample? Our sample, we have here, naka-indicate dito, the property manager selected 25 residents. So that the sample now is 25 residents. 25 residents of of a certain subdivision. Then how about the statistic? The statistic here, we have, diba? What's the average? What's the average consumption water of 25 residents? The answer is 20 cubic meters. And this is now the answer. Congratulations sa students who got the correct answer. Mhm. So, ang dali ang judul na ang pinakadali kay ang sample of population. So, practice lang tayo ng practice para pag abot sa quiz, maka-answer mo sa parameter, statistic, ka-appeal ni siya sa quiz na ako. RT dire? Karon pa ko kabalo, sorry. Yeah. Nari BSRT dire? Ah, sige. Sige, let's continue. Another example na naman tayo. Okay, another example. Okay, let's have another example para mas masabtan. Ano, nawala. Okay. Ayan. Wait lang ha, erase na lang na ako daan ni B. Okay. Okay. Ano, tira ingani ka mubo ang parameter ha again. Pwede lang ingani ka short ang parameter. Ako kag specific lang gid nako. Pero okay lang ingani ka mubo, may problema. Sige, how about this one class? How about this one? Kindly chat your answer. Okay, again, kindly chat your answer. Let's have the population. I-identify na to ang population. Then, the parameter. Then, the sample. Then, the sample and the statistic. Sige daw. Kayo daw magsagot. Kindly chat your answer. Okay? Practice kayo ng practice. Bahalag mali. Wala problema sa ko. Bahalag mali. Bahalag mali. Okay lang. Okay. Sorry. Na-click na ako. Sorry. Wait. Sige, let's check your answer. Okay, the population here, the population is the students in the class. Yeah. Again, the population is the students in the class. The students in the class. Then the parameter is that the mean score. Okay, the parameter is the mean score of the students. Okay, the parameter is the mean score of the students. The sample here is the selected 5 students. And what is the mean score? What is the mean score of the selected 5 students? The answer is 80. Yan. And that's the answer. And congratulations sa mga nakatama. Okay? The population is the students. The mean score is the parameter is the mean score. The sample is the selected 5 students, and the statistic is 80. And yeah, and may maglabas dyan sa exam. Okay? So this time, let's proceed. Now, there are types of sampling. We have the probability sampling at saka non-probability sampling. Now, under ng probability sampling is simple random sampling, na the systematic random sampling, the stratified random sampling, the cluster sampling, at saka the multi-stage sampling. And under ng non-probability, we have the non-convening sampling, purposive sampling, at saka snowball sampling. So please take note of these sampling techniques. Again, please take note of these sampling techniques. Okay? So now, let's discuss first simple random sampling. Ano ba yung simple random sampling? Okay. It is applicable when population is small, homogeneous, and readily available, and all subsets of the frame are given an equal probability. Each element of the frame thus has an equal probability of selection. It provides for greatest number of possible samples, and this is done by assigning a number to each unit in a sampling frame. Ang simple random sampling, it is just sort of a lottery system. Okay? A lottery system. For example, mao ni ang fishball. Fishball ba na? basta nanay or box. Okay. Naamo ang tanang students nga radtech nga ako under sa kuha, na ang tanang names diri sa box na diri. So, if I am going to select 10 samples, of course, kayo lahat will be given the chance na mapili. So that kind of technique na ginamit ko is simple random sampling. It's a sort of lottery system. So magbunot-bunot ko si kuan, okay, sample na ko siya, bunot na po, si kuan sample. That's simple random sampling. Also, simple random sampling, we have the simplest way of getting random sample where each member of the population has an equal chance of being chosen at the sample. Are you familiar with raffle? Kanang raffle class, raffle, kanang, di ba na generator sa raffle? Kanang generator sa raffle, mon ang another way of sort of simple random sampling na siya. Yung class, yung spin the wheel, natan ng inyong names. Natan ng inyong names sa wheel. Yan. Of course, kayo lahat will be given the chance to be selected. And that kind of technique is simple random sampling. Yes, ang spin the wheel. Yes, that's an example of simple random. Okay? Of course, yeah, that's simple random. Kayo lahat will be given the chance to be selected, and pili lang, lottery or sa ba, ganon. Okay? Next, ito. This is an example of simple random sampling. All subsets of the frame are given an equal probability. Random number generators. Yan. Okay? Pag ano siya, nakabola-bola dahil example. Okay, number 20. Muna ang name. Yung sinabi ko kanina na raffle, that's simple random sampling. Okay, next. After ng simple random sampling, we have systematic sampling. Again, we have systematic sampling. It relies on arranging the target population according to some ordering scheme, then selecting elements at regular intervals through that ordered list. And systematic sampling, it involves a random start and then proceeds with the selection of every case element and onwards. And this case, K is equal to population size over sample size. Now, it is important that the starting point is not automatically the first in the list, but instead randomly chosen from within the first to the kth element in the list. A simple example of this systematic sampling is ito. A simple example would be to select every 10th name from the class attendance. So or every 10th sample, or also referred to as sampling with a skip of 10. Now, to further understand this systematic sampling, example lang tayo, example. Wala naman nag-class list, no? Tama, wala akong class list. Mangita sa ako class list ha, para example na to sa systematic sampling, para mas masabtan ninyo. Okay, wait lang ha. Wait, okay, dito na. Ang sa ating example na. Sige. Example lang kami. Example lang yung mga names sa kanila. Example lang. Ay, kung ma-erase siya. Wait lang ha. Ma-erase talaga siya. Ano na lang ta sa sa female na lang ta. Ma-erase talaga siya. Okay, ganito yung nawala. Okay. Ganito yung style ng ng systematic sampling. Okay. Kani sila, pila na sila kabuok? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So the population here, the population is 22. Okay, again, the population and big N stands for population. The population is 22. Again, big N stands for population. Now, gusto niya ako akong pilion lang sa mga babae. Again, akong gusto nga pilion sa mga babae kay ano lang. Unom lang kabuok. Yeah, 6 lang kabuok. This small n is the sample. Again, ang big N population, the small n is the sample. Now, para makuha siya class, para makuha using systematic sampling, we have this formula, K is equal to big N over small n. Yan. So, pili answer class, Pili answer, 22 divided by 6, pila, that's 3 point something. 3.67, tama ako? Pila, class? Who can give me the answer? You can unmute, by the way. 3.6, diba? 3.67, yes. 3 point, yeah, mata-mata lang ako to, sorry. Hindi ako, sometimes magkamali ko. 3.67. Round up siya always. Again, round up siya. Bisan pa na siya og 3.1, i-round up gihapon. Bisan pa ng 3.4, i-round up gihapon siya always. That's the rule sa systematic. So, 3.67 round up, that's 4. So, ang pilion, ang pattern karon kay every fourth daw. Every fourth ang pagpili sa ako ang respondents. Okay, every fourth. Okay? Now, dili necessary, okay, okay. Sorry, Laika. Sorry, Laika. Sige. Okay. In systematic sampling, hindi necessary na kung sino yung pinakauna, automatic na siya ang pipiliin na first respondent. No, hindi siya necessary na ganon. Sa pagpili ng respondents, naka-random gihapon. So, gusto na ko si Ariola. No? Kung si Ariola ako na first respondent. Muna ang first respondent, ako siya i-label na first. Now, ang nakabutang dire is every fourth. So let's count every fourth. So from Ariola, let's count. Archaga, 1, 2, 3, 4. That means the second respondent is si Avila. Next, another fourth naman. 1, 2, 3, 4. So Kabana is another respondent. Next, another fourth na naman. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yan. Then another fourth na naman ulit. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then another fourth. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yan. O diba? I told you earlier that the sample na gusto kong makuha is 6. So ito na sila. Si Ariola, Avilas, Cabana, Isnares, at saka si Gumapak og Solante. They are my samples. Paano ko sila gipili? I am using systematic sampling. So ganito ang systematic sampling. Okay, ganito ang style ng systematic sampling. You have here the formula. The formula is the population divided by the sample. Again, the population divided by the sample. Okay. So that's ganyan mag-work ang systematic sampling. Next. Ito. Okay? The population size over the sample size, that's the formula. Then the K now is the size of selection interval. Yan. Next is the stratified random sampling, the common sampling that usually na ginagamit ng aking mga students sa kanilang research. Okay? So ano itong stratified random sampling? Where population embraces a number of distinct categories, the frame can be organized into separate strata. Each stratum is then sampled as an independent subpopulation out of which individual elements can be randomly selected. Another definition, every unit in a stratum has the same chance of being selected. Using the same sampling fraction for all strata ensures proportionate representation in the sample. An adequate representation of minority subgroups of interest can be ensured by stratification and varying sampling fraction between strata is required. Ganito, stratified random sampling. So the strata we have here, women and men. Okay, the strata we have here, women and men. There are 4 women here and there are 3 men here. So each each strata, they are given the chance equally. Okay? So kung upat diri ka upat ka tao diri sa women, then tulo ka buok ang yung gusto kwaon strata. So dapat tulo pud ang kwaon diri sa women. Same goes with the men. Okay? Upat pud ka tao na diri, sa upat nakay tulo kwaon dira. That's stratified random sampling. Wait lang ha, murag naman ako sample nga research na nag-stratified random sampling. Murag i-show lang nako later. Okay? Okay, ito. Ito siya is naka-stratified by age. Ayan. Naka-stratified siya by age. This one, naka-stratified siya according to anong klase, anong lahi ng American siya. Caucasians, African American, Hispanic American. Okay? That's stratified random sampling. The most common example na kaya kong ma-share na ma-associate with stratified random sampling is ito. Sa SPC, example, ito yung scenario. Of course, San Pedro College offers different courses. Merong BS MedTech, BS Nursing, BS RadTech, RT, Pharma, PT, di ba napakarami. Now, if maganda kong study, ang akong study is preference of students sa online class niya. Preference ng estudyante sa online class. Muna akong study. Akong respondents kay mga estudyante sa SPC. So, the population is the whole students sa SPC. Now, may sampling namin stratified random sampling. So, sir, paano mo makandak ang study mo using stratified random sampling? So, ito yung mangyayari. So, of course, each course, meron akong respondents. Again, each course, meron akong respondents. Of course, dahan mag-klaseng courses sa SPC offer no, MedTech, RT, RadTech. So, sa MedTech, na-respondents ko ang dira. Sa RT, na-ako ko ang respondents. Sa nursing, na-ako ko ang respondents. Sa PT, or any courses, na-ako ko ang respondents. Now ito, sir, na may consideration sir nga na may year. Okay. Lahi man na po year. So that's the time na pod lahi akong kaon nga respondent sa first year, lahi akong kaon nga respondent sa second year, third year and fourth year. So nakaiba-iba siya. So ang strata dito is the courses, then another strata na naman is the year level. Okay? So yun. Another is sa senior high. Sa senior high, we have these strands, STEM, ABM, and UMS. So kung maganda kong study, using stratified random sampling, meron akong kukuning respondents galing sa STEM, galing sa ABM, and galing sa UMS. Yun. Yan yung stratified random sampling. Next, we have cluster sampling. Cluster sampling is an example of two-stage sampling. We have here, first stage, a sample of areas is chosen. Second stage, a sample of respondents within those areas is selected or is chosen. Okay? So yan ang cluster sampling. Huwag kayong malito sa kaibahan ng cluster at saka stratified, kaya medyo magkahawig biya sila. Yan, medyo magkahawig ang stratified o cluster. So sa cluster sampling, the population is divided into separate groups called clusters. Then a simple random sample of clusters from the available clusters in the population is selected. A sample of such cluster is then selected, and all units from the selected clusters are studied. Okay, let me give you this, the methods. Okay, wait lang. One stage sampling, all of the elements within the selected clusters are included in the sample. Then two-stage sampling, a subset of elements within selected clusters are randomly selected for inclusion in the sample. Now, ganito ang process ng cluster sampling. Dapat alam niyo ang difference nito sa ano ha, sa stratified. Okay. Balik tayo sa SPC ulit. Now, 'di ba, kung mag-intrams mo, ay there are 3 clusters na lang man, 'di ba? Tama. Ibalik na to ang 4. Ibalik na to ang 4 clusters. The archangels, the legions, the terraform knights, at saka the dragons. Ibalik na to siya. So there are 4 clusters sa SPC. Now, that's the one-stage sampling. Okay, then that's the first stage sampling. Itong all of the elements in the selected clusters are included in the sample. Ito sila. Yung 4 na clusters are considered as part of my sample. Now, for two-stage sampling, sa 4 dito na clusters, mamili lang ko asa sa ilaha. Mamili ko sa ilang upat kung asa akong pilian nga gusto nga sa nga sample. Ang gusto na ko nga sample is sa archangels. Ang isa kay sa dragons. Okay? Sa 4 dito na clusters, ang gipili ko na sample is ang sample from archangels at saka dragons. Now, para magamit ang two-stage sampling natin or the second stage sampling, dito sa archangels, mamili ako ng sample. Dito sa dragons, mamili ako ng sample. And that's how sorry. And that's how it works. Ganyan mag-work ang cluster sampling. Unlike sa stratified, okay, i-compare na ko sa stratified, there are four clusters nag-mention ako kanina. So sa 4 dito na clusters, ang pipiliin ko for sample is the archangels at saka the dragons. So yan. Of course, ang pagpilian ni random pod. Okay? Ang pagpilian ni dapat random pod siya. Dili ka nang basta-basta, ay gusto na ko ni sila, dapat kanya kung gusto ng respondents. No. Random pod dapat. Dapat i-random ni mo ang pagpilian ni. Okay? Now, dito sa archangels o sa dragons, mamili ko diri og respondent sa dragons o sa archangels. Depende kung sa course. Sa archangels, mamili ko dito og nursing lang. Sa dragons, mamili ko og education lang nga sample. Yan. Ganyan ang cluster. Unlike sa stratified, each, 'di ba? Ganina, kung 4 yun na clusters, 4 na clusters, ganito siya. Each cluster may respondents. Okay? Each cluster dito may respondents. Now, each cluster sa archangels merong nursing at saka RT. Sa legions medtech, sa terraform knights PT at saka pharma. Sa dragons maraming courses, BSBA, education at saka radtech. So, each courses dito sa clusters will be given the chance na will be given the chance to be selected as the sample. Every courses dito may representative, may sample. Unlike sa cluster ganina, nga sa 4 na clusters dito, gipilian lang nako ang duha by random. Then sa 2 naman dito sa napili ko, namili na pug ko. Depende sa courses nga kung napili. So ganyan ang cluster o ang stratified. Okay, so dapat alam niyo na yung difference ng dalawa. So next. Example is this. There are 5 sections. Okay. For example, mao ni ang barangay Pag-asa. Mao ni ang barangay Pag-asa. O yung barangay Pag-asa, gi-subdivide siya into clusters. There are 5 clusters in barangay Pag-asa. Now, under 5 clusters dire, ang akong napili for second stage sampling kasi section 1 or cluster 1 o si section 5 lang. Now, sa section 1, namili ko kung kinsa ang respondents, namili ko sa sample. Sa section 5, namili na po ko og sample. So, ganyan ang cluster sampling. hindi lahat ng clusters will be given the chance to be chosen as sample, unlike stratified. Yan. Okay? And the last, ito na yung last ng probability sampling. Okay? This will be the last of probability sampling, the multi-stage sampling. When we say multi-stage sampling, this is a combination of two or more sampling techniques. Again, multi-stage sampling is a combination of two or more sampling techniques. Ay, pwede da, sir? Yes, magsabay ang random o ang cluster, ang simple random. Magsabay ang stratified o ang cluster. Magsabay ang systematic o ang stratified ka na. That's multi-stage sampling. Ito lang yung definition ng multi-stage class. Again, ito lang yung dapat i-take note ninyo. Multi-stage sampling, okay, it is a combination of two or more sampling techniques. Yan. Example is this. The population is composed of all the senior citizens from Manila. Now, we can use clustered sampling where the clusters are the municipalities and cities in Metro Manila. Now, of course, Metro Manila is though gamay kay siya og space in terms of land area, but Metro Manila is dakan kay siya mga cities. Napakarami. Now, so ang mga cities or municipalities doon are considered as the cluster. Then, from the selected clusters, we can use stratified random sampling and divide them into different age groups. So this is an example of multi-stage. Nag-cluster siya una, then nag-stratified. That's multi-stage. Okay? Sige daw. Kamo daw answer ani class. Kamo daw answer ani. I-chat inyuhang answer. Sabta ang problem kung saan na siya nga technique. Okay? Kindly chat your answer. Okay? What is your answer?
Systematic,
Stratified. Stratified po, sir.
Okay. The correct answer is ito. Nasa 2. Systematic. Nasa clue class. Okay, tanawa ang clue. Every 15th student. Diba? So, nag-follow siya o katong KPH na way. Okay? Na-clue ang inyong buhaton diri sa problem, mangita mo og clue. Okay? Dito pa lang sa clue daan, every student or every 15th student is given a survey form. So this is an example of systematic random sampling. Okay? Another example. This one. Can you chat your answer? Mr. Johnson ordered 2 boxes of tiles for his house renovation. To make sure that they are not damaged, he randomly select 4 boxes and check the tiles in those 4 boxes. Okay, ano siya Nasa 20 boxes. Then out of 20 boxes, namili lang siya upat. Again, sa 20 ka box na tiles, okay, namili lang siya upat. Then sa upat ka box na tiles, namili siya og upat dito, each boxes. Unsa man sa klase na sampling. Okay? Anyone? Sige, chat yung answer sa klase nga sampling. Again na, let me repeat para masabtan. Nag-order si Mr. Johnson og 20 boxes. Now, to randomly check kung naabay damage or wala yung tiles, out of 20 boxes, namili lang siya upat. So, kadaghan, so 20, of course, namili siya upat ka box. Now, sa upat ka box class, per box class, naa na siya sulod nga daghang tiles. So, uncheck the tiles in those 4 boxes. Gina-check niya. Each ato dito. Namili siya para i-check. The correct answer is very good.
Cluster po.
Cluster. Okay. The sampling method used is cluster sampling. Very good. The tiles were divided into 20 boxes, groups, and of course, namili lang siya upat. And sa apat na boxes, namili na po siya og tiles para i-check. And that's cluster sampling. Okay, next, ito. Ito daw ba ito? The school canteen is doing a survey on the food preferences of the students. They printed 100 survey forms and they randomly, take note ha, they randomly select 10 students from each grade level from grade 1 to grade 10. Again, so take note of the clue. So na grade 1 to grade 10. Okay, na grade 1 to grade 10 na section ha. So from grade 1 to grade 10, sa grade 1, pulo ka buok. Grade 2, pulo ka buok. Grade 3, pulo ka buok. Hangtod grade 10 na may lang sila tag 10 students per grade level. Okay? So what type of random sampling ang ginamit? Every grade has given the chance to be chosen to be part of their study. Okay? Nag-chat ng mga answers. Okay, very good. The correct answer is stratified random sampling. Lahat, okay, very good. Lahat ng grade level are given the chance to be chosen. And each grade level may 10 respondent. And that is an example of stratified random sampling. Okay? So, diba? So, based sa examples, nalaman nyo na ang difference between cluster and stratified. Okay, another example is this. Ito. Sige. The IT department is doing a survey on the quality of the internet connection in the school. Since they have all the students' identification number or ID in their database, they generated 100 random identification numbers using a computer. And those students were asked to participate in the survey. What sampling technique is used in the survey? Kindly chat your answer. Okay? Let me try to check if kabalo ba mo ani. Okay, let me check your answer. Say answer. Simple. Yeah, very good. The correct answer is simple random sampling. Take note ha, take note. Dapat sabun ninyo ang situation. Since new groups were used, this is not stratified nor cluster. Then wala po ni siya itong kanang KTH, no, dili sa systematic. This is used using simple random sampling. Based pa lang dito sa statement class o based lang dito, okay, ang IT department, meron silang ID numbers ng mga estudyante. Then, you generate lang nila using computer generator. Computer generator. Again, to identify random respondents, they use computer generator. Of course, wala sila kabalo. Random ka using computer generator. So, that means this is a simple sampling. Sige, kani daw. Kindly chat your answer. Okay? Kindly chat answer. Okay, kani daw, kindly chat your answer. Sige. Sino makapag-defend ng kanilang answer? Bakit strat? Bakit simple? Ayan. Sige. Anyone sa class natin? Anyone? Gusto mag-share sa ilang answer? Tapos i-defend lang, ano? Strat, sir, kasi by age group. Pwede. Okay. Now, let me share you my idea about this one. Pwede siya simple, pwede siya strat actually, but you need to consider the time, the availability. Take note Davao region. Davao region consists of Davao del Sur, Davao del Norte, Oriental, Occidental, at saka Davao de Oro. There are 5 provinces of Davao region. If you are going to use stratified random sampling, that means each provinces will be given the chance to be selected as the respondents. Yan. Kung i-cluster naman nimo, i-cluster, there are 5 provinces. Mamili lang kag duha ka province. So sa duha ka province, of course, each province merong each provinces merong municipalities and cities. Tama, di ba? Each provinces merong municipalities and cities. Now, sa municipality o sa city, mamili na po ka respondents mo based by age group. Okay? Yan, pwede cluster. Now, ako ang mabuhat ani para ma-lesson, okay? Para ma-lesson ang ako ang work, I am going to use multi-stage. Okay? So now multi-stage. Take note, preferred viewers in Davao region. Again, Davao region is very broad. Daghan kayo ng di ba? Daghan kayo ka ng provinces, 5 ka buok. Now, akong gusto bataan is first mag-cluster ko. Mag-cluster ko class. Of course, sa 5 ka provinces, ako pilion lang kay duha. Si Davao del Sur o Davao Occidental. Medyo bias ko kaya taga-diri ko. Sa 5 ka provinces, cluster akong pilion lang ha. Akong first sampling technique is cluster. We have the Davao del Sur and Davao Occidental. Now, Davao del Sur municipality and city. Davao Occidental merong municipality and city.
Excuse me, Sir Kelly.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt, sir. Medyo hindi maintindihan, sir. Choppy, sir.
Choppy, sige.
Yes, sir.
Let me repeat
Ayun,
again.
okay na. Parang, okay na.
Ay, wait lang.
Okay, sir. Thank you po.
Okay. Let me repeat my answer. Ako answer ani kay multi-stage. First, I will be doing cluster sampling. Davao region has 5 provinces. Davao del Sur, Davao del Norte, Occidental, Oriental, and Davao de Oro. Now, cluster akong unang gipili. Sa 5 ka cluster, mamili lang duha. Akong napili, Davao del Sur and Davao Occidental. Yan. And of course, each provinces naman, merong municipality and city. So of course, mamili na po ko og city dire sa Davao del Sur, mamili na po ko og municipality dire sa Davao Occidental. So for second stage, I will be choosing sa Davao del Sur, Digo City. For Davao Occidental, Malita. Okay, now, here comes the stratified. Mag-stratified na po ko. Or kung dili, depende na sa inyo, mag-simple ba mo or stratified. So sa stratified random sampling akong buhaton, okay, since each city or municipality, merong barangay. Di ba? May barangay, each city and municipality. That means, each barangay, kung mag-stratified ko, each barangay will be given the chance to be selected as as my respondents. Ang mga tao dito, pwede na kumayang respondents, each barangay. Equal number of respondents, each barangay. Same with sa Malit, kung sa Digos, na ay 20 plus barangays, ang Malit na 20 plus, so each barangay, meron silang representative na respondents. Okay? So ang ginamit ko, cluster, then stratified. Depende na sa inyo kung sa klase, but the most accurate answer for this one is multi-stage sampling. Again, the most accurate to save time also and to save money, okay? You are going to use multi-stage sampling. Kasi take note ha, napaka-broad ng respondents dito. Again, napaka-broad. Davao John. Yan. I hope na gets ninyo akong explanation kung bakit multi-stage ang sagot ko. Okay? And basta multi-stage, depende na sa inyo ha kung sa combination. Basta it's a multi-stage ang ginamit ko. Composed of cluster and stratified. Okay, now, tapos na tayo sa random sampling. Okay? Tapos na tayo sa random sampling. Let's proceed to let's proceed to non-random sampling. We have here convenience sampling, judgment sampling, quota sampling, at saka snowball sampling. Okay? So convenience sampling, sample element are selected for the convenience of the researcher. So medyo biased ni siya. Judgment sampling or purposive. Another term for judgment is purposive sampling. Sample elements are selected by the judgment of the researcher. Quota sampling, sample elements are selected until the quota controls are satisfied. Snowball sampling, survey subjects are selected based on the referral from the survey respondents. So let's discuss each non-random sampling. Convenience sampling, use results that are easy to get. Okay? Hey, do you believe in a death penalty? Ganito yung situation ng convenience sampling. Kung gusto mo mag-study about the experiences of students sa online class, you can use convenience sampling. Pwede rin yung classmate ninyo. Okay? Pwede ra classmate ninyo yung inyong respondents, ana. And class, to tell you, this non-random sampling itong mga non-random sampling, common siya sa mga qualitative research. Again, itong mga non-random sampling dito, these are common for qualitative research. Yung random kanina, common yun siya sa quantitative research. Again ha, meron na kayong idea. Again, meron na kayong idea na the sampling na gagamitin ninyo, the common quality is na mga non-random sampling. Yung kanina naman, mga stratified simple, those are the sampling techniques that ginagamit usually sa sa quantitative research. Okay, let's proceed. Convenience sampling involves choosing respondents at the convenience of the research. Na lang, ay, gusto ko mahirap respondent, ganahan mo kunin mo. Yan, that's convenience sampling. Advantages, very low cost, yeah, extensively used or understood. Disadvantages, variability and bias cannot be measured or controlled. Yeah, medyo biased dyan siya. Of course, siya lang itong i-respondents kay friend na nakuna. So medyo bias. Projecting data beyond sample not justified and restriction of generalization. So ganyan ang convenience sampling. Next, judgmental sampling or judgmental sampling or purposive sampling. They're just the same. So in this sampling technique, the researcher chooses the sample based on who they think would be the appropriate of the study. It's used primarily when there's a limited number of people that have expertise in the area being researched. So, example ng purposive sampling is ito. Live experiences of senior high school teachers teaching ano lang, live experience of senior high school teacher teaching online classes kana. Yung purposive sa of course, your respondents here is the senior high school teachers. So, don't choose me. Hindi ako yung pilion as your respondents, as participants of the study. Okay? Kasi, I am, I am fit. I am, dyan sa criteria ninyo to be the respondent of your study. Okay? Depende sa inyo, kung nawag na ilang senior high school, pwede na. Okay? That's purposive sampling. Next, snowball sampling. Okay. Ano itong snowball sampling? Snowball sampling starts with a key person and introduce the next one to become a chain. Ganito ang sinabi ng snowball sampling. Okay. Ang aking study is all about same-sex relationship. Okay? Mag-interview ko og kanang partners na mag-interview ako ng partners na kanang sex, same relationship. Now, mag-ask ko sa akong isa ka respondent na kaila nga na po siya uyab nga the same sex sa iya, like say same sex relationship siya. Pwede mo nimo ma-refer. So again, kato akong respondents gi-refer me sa iyang friend na po siya ka same sex relationship. Nagkatubod iyang friend na pod, iyan na pong friend katong gi-refer na pod me to another friend nga nag-engage in the same-sex relationship. And that is snowball sampling. Snowball sampling is based on referrals. Refer. Okay? Ganyan mag-work ang snowball sampling. And ayan, that concludes our class discussion